Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial which is a little different. Normally I talk about Photoshop or After Effects or I don't know, but today I'm going to teach you a thing or two about motivation or how we stay motivated. And I'm also going to teach you a little bit about how the brain works, or at least some of our brains, and hopefully it will help you stay motivated, tackle bigger projects, get out of bed in the morning basically, and do your thing. Stay motivated, stop procrastinating. It's going to help you a lot. So I teach a class in After Effects, and what I noticed is that when I gave several smaller tutorials, everything went fine and everyone completed their tasks. But as soon as I started giving out like larger projects that they had like a couple of weeks to finish, I noticed that a lot of people either didn't do it, never started, or started really late in the process, and you could see that it was rushed, or you could see that people would get stressed and so on. And that's actually something that I was like, hey, and I should actually talk about that with them and see if I can improve that. Well, luckily we have a lot of experience in staying motivated because, well, we do smaller projects, but we also do bigger projects, and well, we know all about like how procrastination works and how hard it is to actually start a project, especially if it doesn't have a deadline. So in this video, I'm going to show you a couple of things. I'm going to show you how to make a simple to-do list. I'm going to show you how to make a little bit more of an advanced to-do list. That's going to help you a lot. And then I'm going to show you my favorite part, which is the point system. And I'm going to push that even further, and I'm going to show you my homemade RPG that you can copy with a link in the description. So be sure to stay tuned because I think you're going to find this really interesting, and it might not help everyone out there, but there's a good chance it might work for you. So first of all, I kind of want to talk about like how motivation works, and especially how motivation works these days, because everything is built around quick hits of dopamine, and that's basically how you stay motivated. It is sometimes really hard to start a task, and it's something really hard to start a really large task because it's so big and it takes a long time before you start getting those hits of dopamine. And that's where the system that I'm going to show you is all about. It's all about getting your dopamine more quickly to be able to finish your task. So in my day, when I was younger, we didn't really have that problem that as much, but these days, like, you got the Instagram, you got the TikTok, you got the Reddits, and obviously like a lot of video games, and they were all built around being able to give you entertainment or give you the dopamine that you need quickly and as quickly as possible. You will keep scrolling through your TikTok videos or whatever. I don't know if you're into video games. I am, obviously, but if you go level up in certain games, it doesn't really do anything. I remember going level up in Overwatch and saying and thinking by myself, yeah, I did it, but all I did was I just played. I didn't do anything. I wouldn't level up and I did nothing, but I still felt good. So we developed a way to translate that to real life. And while real life or your projects or whatever aren't always going to be that fun, but basically our system makes sure you'll get your dopamine in time and you'll get through your task quicker, and the quicker you get through your tasks, the more motivated you are to keep doing them, and you'll teach yourself a habit and you'll stay motivated and you'll be really happy. And hopefully that will help you. It has helped us a lot. So let's start off by actually starting at the bottom, and I'm going to show you the simplest technique. You probably know this technique. It is so simple. It's basically a simple to-do list. So what I'm going to do in this to-do list, and this is really important, I'm going to write everything down I need to do. And I'm going to include all your tasks in a day or all your tasks in a week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write them all down. So let's start by saying like, hey, I got this email I need to send out. So that's one thing. And I need to call a client, so I'm going to call client. And I also need to make that one drawing. I mean, we're animators after all. So let's make that drawing of a unicorn, because that's what I have to do. Let me write down a couple of more tasks and also put down things like, I don't know, like a doctor's appointment. And why do I write everything down? I mean, that doctor's appointment does not have anything to do with my project, with the tasks that I need to do during office hours, during my hours, during the hours that I work. Why do I write that down? Well, that's important because like sometimes you have to do so many things that do not have to do anything with your projects or your work or whatever. And it just feels good to actually mark them when you're done. So if you look back at your day, you'll actually see like, oh, I didn't get to do anything today that I wanted to do. Well, at least you did a lot of things that were important, things you had to do. So be sure to write those down as well. So really simple. During the day, I will just say like, well, I call the client and I make that blue. And I got that animated intro for John. I didn't finish it, but I'm working on it. So about halfway through, and I'm just gonna make that pink. I got a little list here what things do. Turns out ordering these tickets, that's not important anymore, so I'm not gonna do that, and so on. So basically, I'm going to fill in this list. You probably know how this works. It's quite simple, and all the tasks are in there. But for larger projects, that's not gonna work. I can write down, make that 5-minute animation. Now that's a really big project. That's not gonna work. If I write down, make the webcomic, that's way too big. You gotta make that into smaller chunks. You can't just eat up that burger in one gulp. It needs to be in several bites. And that's actually the next step that I'm going to show you, which is, I'm just gonna call this the fancy to-do list. There we go. So I made a little grid. I made it look nice, because if it looks nice, I'll be more interested in actually working on it. Don't know why, that's me. But in this case, this is that animated project of 5 minutes that I've been talking about. So what I did, I actually broke it down in little chunks. And in this case, those chunks are fairly simple. It's going to be title, a scene, shot 1, shot 2, shot 3, shot 4, and so on. I even put down the credits because that's important too. I need to add those as well. I'm going to make sure like everything is on there. I can even make a list below it that actually says like, hey, I need to call my audio guy to actually get the audio for that shot. I can even like make a little list here and add it to this. All the steps are there, and that's really important. Now this actually becomes more manageable instead of like, I'm just gonna work and just do it. Because then at a certain point, like you're gonna see like, oh my God, there's so much work left. Where do I even start? And you will stop working on it. But now if I finish a task, let's say I did the storyboards for this, the storyboards for that. Now, even though this isn't done yet, that feels pretty good. I mean, just chunks of my storyboard are done, but it feels good because now that is done and I can exactly see like, hey, I'm about halfway. That's pretty good. So I'm going to just finish this up. And at a certain point, I might be like, oh my God, I'm so tired. It's 4 o'clock and I want to go home at like, I don't know, 5 or 6. And I got an hour left and I don't want to do this anymore. Let me just look at that list one more time. And there you have it. I only have to do 3 more shots. And I can tell myself like, let's barter. Because that's what you're constantly doing. You're bartering with your own motivation. And I'm going to say like, well, let's do, shot 1. I'm gonna do that one. That one was easy. Oh, I don't want to do shot 4. And I know it's silly to storyboard the credits, but I'm just gonna add it in. And now there's only one hole left. Or even if I have like something like, hey, well, I really don't want to do the storyboard of that one last shot. I really don't feel motivated. That's fine. There's so much other things that I can do right now. How about I go design a background for this very shot? It's quite easy. It was the simplest shot. I don't know, this is different every time. Maybe I'm going to tackle a really hard one right now. And maybe I'm just going to tackle this one as well because it's quite the same as the first one. I don't know, maybe. And well, you know what? At the end of the day, let me just do storyboard shot 4 as well. I've been looking, I didn't want to do it, but now I did it. And now it's done. And even if you're like, I don't know, like a third into your project, even though you got only like little chunks, you can just like pick out, you can just cherry pick what you want to do. Maybe I want to do a really simple task. Maybe I want to do a really hard task. As long as I get to make things blue, because blue is good. And in the end, you'll find that your project will look like this and you're done. And even if you didn't even get to finish one, you can always say like, well, this background is work in progress and this background is work in progress. And maybe this, well, I worked on this shot, but I haven't finished it yet. But I basically did all the audio, etc. Even with the pink color, the work in progress color, this still helps and your project will get finished. So now that we get that out of the way, and even a lot of people know about this technique, but now I'm going to show you the one that I really like, and that's the point log. Let me explain. Now that point log is actually really, really helpful, and that actually goes back to getting the quick hits of dopamine from, I don't know, like leveling up in a video game. Instead of writing down what you need to do, you write down what you did. And you can write down anything you want. You can just do the things that are in your project. You can just do the things that are happening in your day. Maybe you made certain rules with yourself. Maybe there's things that I haven't even thought of. but let me show you. So for example, like, hey, I sent out that email to John. Well, it was an easy task. It took me about 10 minutes and I just had to do it. But you know what? I'm gonna give myself 2 points for that. 2? What does 2 mean? 2 points of what? Doesn't matter. Let me show you the next one. I didn't even draw the whole thing, but I sketched that unicorn drawing that I mentioned before. Well, I really didn't want to start this task. It was easy, but I really didn't want to start the task. But because it took me so much effort to even start on it, I'm gonna give myself 5 points, a little bit more. And then I colored the unicorn. Well, that was easier. I was already in a roll, but I'm gonna give me 3 points anyway. And so on and so on. You can even put that doctor's appointment on there because maybe, I don't know, maybe you were nervous and you did it anyway. Let me give me 2 points for that. Maybe I got out of bed before 9. And that's good because normally if I don't have any task, I like to sleep in. How about I give myself some points for it, you know? There we go. And maybe I finished all my chores before noon. 5 points. That's very good. And so on. And you can put anything on it you want. Anything that will give you that dopamine hit. And obviously you can cheat. I can say like, well, I scribbled on a piece of paper. I can just say, well, that's 1,000 points. I can do that. But you know that you didn't earn those points. So that doesn't work. So let me remove that. And you do that every day. So a new day starts. I can say like, well, it's now June 29th. And I will say like, hey, how many points did I get yesterday? That was a good day. I did a lot that day. So I'm gonna select them all. So on the bottom right of my spreadsheet, it will actually sum them up and it will say like, well, that was 19 points. That's why I'm using spreadsheet, so I can calculate them really quickly. And well, 19 points, I can do at least that. I had a good day yesterday, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do my tasks. Task 1, task 2, task 3. You're all gonna have points. Task 4, that was a simpler task. Task 5, and so on. And today I got 22 points. That system actually gives you the motivation. That actually makes you track how much you did, but you get more points for the things you didn't want to do. That really helps. Now in this point log, you can actually set a reward for yourself. For example, I'm going to say like, hey, when I get to 50 points, I can finally buy that video game I wanted. Or I can treat myself to a new cool t-shirt. There you go. It's Bad Fur Day. If you know that game, you're awesome. And I think the game is awesome. Now, if this system works for you, if you're thinking, well, this system, that's interesting, I'm going to push it to 11. And I'm going to show you with our MMORPG spreadsheet game. All right? Bear with me. So I actually turned this into an actual RPG, an MMORPG, because there's multiple tabs and it's online, so hey, it counts. It's an MMO. And you can actually download a template of this and you can use it if you want, and I'll explain to you a little bit how it works. And we use this as an actual RPG to stay motivated. And I'll show you. I put all my tasks in here, just like with what I did on the points list. So you can actually see like a lot of monsters here. Well, pixel monsters that we had a lot of fun designing. You don't have to, it's all in a template. I just want to show you how much fun this can be. And you can see like all the tests that I already did. Just pause the video, you can look at that. I even like put in like the emails, just like I said. Maybe well, this one shot with the window break that was hard, so let me give you 3 points, etc., etc. So what I can do is I can actually use this. I made the unicorn drawing. I'm gonna say, well, I finished it, so you know that's 5 points. And when I typed in 5 and press enter, you will actually see his health points go down. See, that goes down. So maybe I did thing 2, and that's another 6 points. And maybe I did that one email, and that's 1 point. So, and then I go on with task 3, task 4, and I'm gonna give them points. So let's say I'm gonna give this last task 6 points or more, doesn't matter. Look at what happens when I press enter. The monster has 6 HP left, and I'm doing 6 damage, so there we go. Enter, bam, it's dead. There you go. You killed the monster. And yes, we all got our own to-do list, just like that. You can do all the things. Ryan actually did a lot on this one. This is actually Game++, so this is the 3rd time that we rebooted it. Sometimes you just gotta start with a clean slate, and we did. There's even like a map. You can fill in the blanks on the right. It's silly. You can even put your name there. It's a lot of things. And obviously, it actually levels you up. I'm level 3. Ryan is level 17. He's a really high level. And that's a good thing because he actually needed that motivation a lot longer than we did. So he used it for a long time and he got really far, and then he started creating a habit of staying motivated. It really worked out for him, and it really worked out for us as well in the other games that we had before. So basically we created a silly spreadsheet MMO that pushed us forward so much, and that's how we were able to make all these animations that we did and all these tasks and made sure we did all the work for the clients and stuff like that, and we had fun with it. And that's how we keep ourselves motivated. And I know it's silly, but it's also super fun. Try to make it fun for yourself, you know? Luckily, if you don't like Excel that way, there is an app called Habitica. And there's multiple apps like this that can also help you out by doing the exact same thing. Ours is just a little bit more customizable, but go try that or try the spreadsheets, because the spreadsheets you can actually make your own points, and that's what I like. I like to control myself. But that's up to you, and I hope that inspired you. There's one more trick that I want to show you guys, and that is sometimes you have to just start a project, start a task. You can get the full focus. You're constantly distracted. I'm going to show you one more technique, and that's the tomato timer. This is actually called the Pomodoro technique. I just want to briefly show you guys this. If you search for tomato timer or Pomodoro technique, there's always a website that helps you out. If you press start, the timer runs. And if the timer runs, that's 25 minutes. And you can tell your brain, you can trick your brain into thinking like, hey, I can do 25 minutes. In this day, I can just focus on something for 25 minutes, let it roll, and I will not look at my phone. I will not look at anything else on the internet. I will not be disturbed. I'm gonna make sure everybody knows around me is like, hey, I'm gonna start my tomato timer. Please don't distract me. Whatever, it doesn't matter. And then when that timer is done, you can actually take a break. Maybe a short break, maybe you need a long break, and in those 5 minutes, maybe a long break of 10 minutes, you can do whatever you want. You can be on Reddit, you can be on Facebook, whoever uses that, but you can do that, you can do whatever you want. And try not to be distracted by anything else. And that's just a trick that we use a lot. If we just cannot start on a day, do that. That will actually get you started. So before we end this video, I'm gonna give you a couple of more tips. If you feel like you still can't do a task, make it even smaller. Even saying like, boot up my Photoshop, that could be a part of the task. It could be really, really, really small, silly small, but maybe it's not silly for you. Another thing is like sometimes you have to just start to actually convince your brain into understanding that what you're doing is good. And in the beginning, it will feel really slow and you hate it, and everything you do, you hate everything about it. But once you get going, you'll find that it will become much easier, and you always have to overcome that one first bump. So if you find yourself still procrastinating, still maybe going to like another website or Reddit or whatever, that means your brain is not getting the dopamine it wants. That means maybe you need to make your task smaller. Maybe you just gotta really start in that task. Maybe you gotta do the Pomodoro technique first. Try those 25 minutes out. There's something that you gotta find to give you that hit of dopamine that you will not find in anything you're doing while you're procrastinating. And hey, this is the most important one of all. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if you skipped a day. Don't feel bad if you didn't start on a project today. Don't feel bad if you didn't make enough progress. Don't feel bad if you just couldn't find yourself to do anything useful in a day. Tomorrow is another day. So you had a bad day. So what? Tomorrow you'll try again. And that's really important. And hey, maybe you didn't finish a task, but you started it. So now you got a head start for tomorrow. Well done. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments or join the Discord. I'd be happy to give you a motivational speech or whatever, or help you out with your list. It doesn't matter to me. I really want you to be motivated, and good luck. Thank you so much for watching.